What's up everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the all-new 2024 BMW i5. This is the M60 xDrive. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this vehicle for me today. Definitely take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. So the M60i is powered by an 84.3 kilowatt lithium ion battery pack paired to a single-speed transmission. This pumps out 590 horsepower, 586 pound-feet of torque. That power is sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system. This weighs in right around 5,200 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds. Top speed is 142 miles an hour. It also has a total range of 256 miles. You'll expect to be able to charge this in around 10 hours with a normal household outlet and about 1 hour with a fast charger. This also has a wheelbase of 117.1 inches. Its overall length is 199.2. It has a width of 74.8 and a height of 59.6 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for this all-new i5, this one has a lot of packages added on. It has the M Sport Pro package along with the Premium package 2, and the M Sport Pro package includes all of the black accents up front. So the surround for the entire kidney grille, which is still retained. This has a forward-facing camera, sensor right in the middle for the adaptive cruise, and then there are inlets on both sides which will open. So that will provide extra cooling if needed to all the components up front. There's sensors located up front too, and a lot more cutouts in the lower section. Really nice contoured lines, giving it that 5 Series look. There's also inlets in the far corners too. And of course this has LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. And then very nice lines that come down the hood, especially right in the middle of the kidney grille. And I like how it's integrated into the hood lines themselves, going into that surround. And then this also has the blue ring around the BMW badge to indicate that this is an electric vehicle. And I think it just has a really nice design. It looks very similar to a normal 5 Series, which of course is nice to see. Now, as we work our way to the side, this has the upgraded 20-inch wheels with a two-tone design, very cool multi-spoke pattern, and then the M60 also gets the red brake calipers too. Now this has gloss black for the power folding side mirrors. They have the turn signal as well as a camera. All of the window trim is blacked out. The lower side skirt is also blacked out. And there's a small indentation right in the back section of it that you can see, and very nice lines that run down the side. Now for some of the newer BMW models, they have gone with more of this flush design for the door handle. So I think that's a very nice touch to see. And then in back, this has a very small trunk mounted spoiler, M60i badge, and i5 finished off in brushed aluminum with the same BMW ring. Now there's a backup camera, all the sensors, more gloss black for that lower diffuser. Now, even though this is an EV, you can still remote start it. So you can triple tap on the lock button here in order to do that. You're not going to hear anything, of course, but depending on the weather, you can have your AC on or you can have your heat on and have that ready to go. Now you can also use the key fob to open up the power trunk, or just use the button up underneath and that will open up, of course. Now, being the 5 Series, this has a lot of space with the back seats up. There's some tie down hooks. You even have a little bit of space on one side. There's a storage bin over on the passenger side. Underneath the floor, you can lift this up where currently the charging cable is located there, but you have a good amount of subfloor storage if you need to use it. And then you can fold these back seats down to give you that much more interior space, making this a very practical vehicle. Now with that power trunk, you can either push the button on the left to just close it. The one on the right will actually lock the vehicle too. So as you walk away, that's a nice feature to have. Now as we work our way to the back seats, this interior is very beautiful. We have all the black leather, brushed aluminum accents, even a really cool design for the release handle. Now this has the Bowers & Wilkins audio sound system, a little bit of storage down below too, and then of course the window adjustment. And that leather works its way to these back seats, which have a nice design running down the insert. Now at 5'10", as I hop my way into these seats, I have a good bit of space. Now there's no storage pockets behind both front seats, but you do get an area where you can attach a tablet and you can even charge it, or just any electronics that you have, you can charge. There's air vents in the middle, more auxiliaries, a little bit of storage down below. And as far as headroom goes, I have about 1 inch or so above my head, but these are very wide seats. I am super comfortable. They actually dip down a little bit, so that gives you that added headroom, which is nice. And then right in the middle, there's the armrest with 2 cup holders, and you can actually fold down the middle seat independently. So if you have a person on both sides, you need a little bit more storage or access to the back, you can quickly do that. And I didn't mention earlier, this also has the full panoramic sunroof, which is nice to see. It's actually pretty hard to tell from up top too. It blends in nicely with this vehicle. Now as we hop into the front seats, door panel is just like the rear. However, there's all the memory seating adjustments. You have a few more seating controls, lock and unlock, all the window adjustments, side mirror adjustments, even a trunk release and more storage. And then there's a very cool ambient lighting that runs just behind those controls there. And then we have the same design for these front seats. They are automatic. Now looking at this steering wheel, it's solid leather. There's all the colors that are stitched within it, as well as the red racing stripe there right in the middle. But let's fire this up. That button is located down below, and it will make an audio noise there to let you know that is on and ready to go. Now coming back to the steering wheel, check out the spokes in the lower section. Very cool design with the M badge too. Now on this left side, there's all the cruise control settings. There's also a boost paddle, which I will go over once we drive this. And then on the right side, there's volume, music, you have your Bluetooth and voice commands, and then this button right here will go through the info within the gauge cluster here. So currently it's showing the augmented reality, which is the camera system that you can see right now. Using this at nighttime is probably a little bit more beneficial, but it's still nice to have that added visibility. Now there's your assisted view for your driving assistance, of course, with cruise control. There's also your range prediction, and you have a few other vitals that you can scroll through, including miles per hour. Now if I scroll over to layout, there's a few different settings that you can have, just depending on what you would like to see, and you can still go through this information over on the left side. So it just depends on if you need a little bit larger of a view, you can quickly scroll through all of these. And then the last one is for the head-up display. So currently it's showing miles per hour, speed limit sign, that is the standard view. There's also a directional view, so that pulls up the compass. You have your assisted view, and then there's also reduced. So just depending on the info that you would like to see there. Now over on this left side, there's an air vent adjustment, which controls the one right underneath there. There's also some lighting controls that you can go through for your parking lights, as well as your additional settings for the high beams, which you can go through. There's auto on and off, and then you have a few other settings that you can go through for the air vent there. And then as we work our way back to the infotainment system, let's push on the home icon right in the middle, where this will pull up with your map on one side, and then you actually have some more info you can scroll through on this left. So it's pretty cool to have that split style screen. There's also music that you can quickly get into. You can pull up the navigation in full screen to go through all of that. Quickly get into all of your climate adjustments, so you can turn that on and off. You have a few more settings. And if I push on the squares, that's how you can get into all of these apps. So you can get into your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you can go through your charging, look at all of your climates, your air vents, things like that, navigation. So you have a lot that you can scroll through, and then you have some more that you can go through on that left side. Last one is for your phone, so you can quickly pair that and hook it up. And then you'll notice too that we do have shortcuts that you can click on. Once you have the fan speed turned on, and then you exit out of that screen, that's when you can push on these. You can get into your heated seats, heated steering wheel, and then of course you can adjust the temperature dials. And then when you want to go in and shut it off, you just go back to that screen there. Now, as you saw earlier, I was going through some of that information without touching the screen. There's some controls down below, just like in every other BMW, where you have some shortcuts, and then that crystal rotary dial and volume that you can go through that screen. So it doesn't matter what you would like to go through, simply just push on those controls and you can quickly do that. Now underneath that, there's more of that backlit lighting with a few controls. We have some more of the adjustments for the fan speeds there. There's the hazards and defrosters, and then some more controls to control where the air goes for those air vents. Underneath that, there's a good bit of storage where you can place some phones or additional items. There's two cup holders with some more auxiliaries and ambient lighting strip that runs throughout that. And then we have all those controls like I mentioned earlier, your start stop. This is how you put the vehicle into gear. So by pushing it forwards, that is for reverse, where you will see the top-down view on that right side. There's also some shortcuts too, so you can quickly see those angles there. There's the assisted view, you have your widescreen angle, and then you can also go into a few more, which is nice to see. Now, if I put the vehicle into drive, it will automatically go into the forward-facing camera, so that way you have just as much visibility So you have no shortage of visibility around this entire vehicle. You also have gesture control, and then you have the pinpoints for that 360 view, so you can easily see around. Now there's no actual park button for this. Just push on the electronic parking brake behind that and it will put it into park. There's also a B mode. So if you go into drive and then you do that one more time, that is for the regenerative braking. So it will charge the battery a little bit more than just normal driving situations. Now also over on this right side, there's tuning for your audio and you have my modes. So you can go into a few here, just depending on what you would like to be in, and it will automatically adjust the sunshade there, just depending on your mood. So if you want relaxed, it will close it, and then you can go into a few more, which is pretty neat to see. There's also additional assistance that you can push on there for your driver assistance, your drivetrain and chassis, and then your charging. Now we do have a few different sounds that you can go into. Turning those on, you can adjust that, and you can go through a little bit more. Auto hold is just behind that, and then we have the button for the center armrest, where you have a little bit of space. And then for the glove box, if I open this up, just by pushing on that button, you can see there's a little bit more space there. Up top, we have some more dome lights as well as the controls for that sunshade. And then a look at visibility. It's very easy to see around. Those pillars in the back are very thin, so it definitely gives you a good look over both shoulders. As we set off now behind the wheel for this all new 5 Series, this is basically like the i7 just now for the 5 Series. So I was able to check out the i7 several months ago, and now we have it in the i5. I want to start off with all the different driving modes because I showed those briefly earlier. We are going to start in sport mode. Oh, wow. That really puts you back in your seat. You have all that torque. That's what I like about EVs. You have all that torque basically at 0. So at idle, it's all there ready to go at your right foot. Now, if I go into some different driving modes, let's go into efficient now, where hopefully you can tell pretty much that sounds like wind. So we have a little bit different of a mode. If we go into digital art now, you'll notice the entire screen changes, all the lighting changes too. And we have a little bit different of a sound. So kind of just, it's a little bit of a gimmick, but depending on your day and what mode you want to put it into, it's going to give you different lighting. It's going to give you different sounds too. One thing that I also want to talk about too is putting it into this B mode. So I mentioned that earlier for the regenerative braking. Since this is a full EV, when you put it into that mode, I'm going to take my foot off the accelerator right now. And if you time it right, you can slow down coming up to a stoplight. If you're making a turn, you can do one pedal braking. It comes to a complete stop. From there, with auto hold on, it'll stop until you mash your foot on the accelerator and get back up to speed. Now, if you take it off of that, now we're just coasting. We're slowing down slightly than you would in a traditional gas vehicle, but just depending on if you need that extra charge. If you're doing a lot of stop and go driving, that one pedal driving is very convenient. So you're not going back and forth, of course. So it is nice to have. And then last up, let's talk about the boost setting. So this is going to give you a countdown from 10. You have 10 seconds to mash your foot on the accelerator there for your sport boost, is what it says on the gauge cluster there. So if I push on it again, it's mainly for maybe passing on the highway, or if you need to downshift, since this is only a 1-speed. I don't know if it's really a gimmick. I'm not really in the situations to test it aside from the accelerations that I'm doing right now. But I've seen it in other EVs, and it gives you that added boost for the situations that you need it. But the i5 here drives very nice. It's so smooth, and for the price too, $91,000. That's a lot of money, especially for an EV. But when you factor in some of the other competitors, what you're getting out of this BMW, I don't think it's all that bad. It's definitely a great option to go with, especially if you're a BMW fan. And man, this gets up and moves. But it's very spacious too. If you need a little bit more space, you go with the i7, but for the compact size that the 5 Series is, it's a good blend of being a great daily driver and then also having a good range for city driving. So if you're gonna take this on long trips, that 256 miles or so isn't really going to be ideal compared to some other EVs offered, but you can definitely drive this around the city, charge it at home. And here we go. Just like that, we are up to speed. Very, very quick. I have it in sport mode, so that way you can hear at least the sound that we have going for it. And again, let's just put it into efficient. Let's dial it back down a little bit, so you hear nothing. Very cool to see that. But now that we're behind the wheel for the all-new i5, 91 grand, you have a lot of good technology, a lot of features. Some of these are some gimmicks, I will say, but overall, I think it's a very nice EV model to go with, especially if you are a BMW fan. You're going to get all those refinements in a well put together vehicle. Super comfortable too with these seats. I love the lateral support that they have. It's a very nice sedan, plenty of visibility. All the pillars are super thin, so it's easy to see all around. And everything is very user-friendly, I will say. Not a whole lot of physical buttons, which I know a lot of people do like. We still, though, get the physical button for your audio, along with power, so you can push down on it too. But everything else is integrated basically into that screen, which I think is nice. I think it gives it a really good look. It's not overdone, in my opinion. But let's give this one last acceleration as we make a quick U-turn. We'll check out the turning radius here, which is pretty good, I will say. We have to go into reverse, but we have all the visibility that we need in order to see around the entire vehicle. But with it in efficient mode, we'll give it another acceleration. And without thinking, we're back up to speed. Pretty cool to see that or feel that without hearing an engine or anything. But that is going to wrap it up for the all-new 2024 BMW i5 M60i. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this EV for me today. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.